Welcome to the teacher resource, the Triune Brain, using the Stoplight approach. My name is Caitlin and I am currently studying a Bachelor of Secondary Education at CQU. I found the topic of the interconnected aspects of the Triune Brain and Stoplight approach extremely useful when managing challenging behaviour as well as increasing cognition and engagement within the classroom. This video covers recognizing what section of the brain the students are using based on their reactions and how it affects learning and emotion, adapting our teaching responses to these, and finally, a few teacher tips to acquire positive results inside the classroom. The triune brain theory, developed by neuroscience Paul MacLean in the 1960s, proposes that the brain is composed of three distinct layers, which have evolved over time. They include the brainstem, limbic system, and neocortex. Each of the brain regions have corresponding emotions, meaning that when we feel a certain emotion, we are functioning either out of the red, yellow, or green brain in a way that relates to a stoplight, telling us when to stop, use caution, or when to go. Our emotions then translate into a specific behavior or action. The focus of the stoplight approach is emotional awareness to allow teachers and students to recognize the effects of functioning out of each zone and why it is imperative to operate out of the green brain when learning. When a student's behavior is focused, cooperative, and they are taking initiative, they are functioning out of their neocortex, but are known as the primate human brain. The neocortex, which also can be referred to as the prefrontal cortex, is the outermost layer of the brain and is the most recent addition and responsible to higher order thinking and decision making, as well as conscious awareness. It is responsible for cognitive functions such as perception, imagination, reasoning, and language. Being composed of interconnected neurons, it is the most dynamic and adaptable part of the brain. It is capable of neuroplasticity, or the ability to change and recognize itself in response to new stimuli and experiences. Working memory, social cognition, managing and regulating human behavior effectively occurs during this functioning. Student engagement is at an all-time high. We must go. Learning is at a maximum effectiveness and blood flow is increased and our brains are 100% responsive. However, the brain has a short attention span, so it is vital to engage and stimulate the brain when we are functioning out of the neocortex, allowing us to integrate new knowledge and apply it to a variety of situations. Problem-based learning, critical thinking, and social communication allows for neural networks to be created and enhanced. The second behavior to consider and to look out for is when a student is irritable, unfocused, sad, tired, and disengaged. They are therefore operating out of their limbic system, or the mammalian brain. The limbic system's core responsibilities include controlling and processing facets of emotion, memory, and learning. This system is perhaps the most well known for its association with the fight or flight response. When our amygdala senses a potential danger, it will trigger a series of events which will lead to physiological changes, like increased heart rate and faster breathing. This response is designed to protect us from physical danger and comes from a time of when humans were constantly in danger from predators. However, in the modern world, this response can sometimes be triggered by stress, which can lead to chronic health problems. When the amygdala senses threat, it becomes overactivated and no longer relaxed. When the amygdala is in this state of stress-induced overactivation, new information cannot be passed through to the prefrontal cortex. The hippocampus, thalamus, and hypothalamus can also be found in this section of the brain, having their own responsibilities by maintaining storage and regulating the nervous system. We need to use caution and slow down. The learning ability is diminished and learning will no longer take place or take longer. Students need to feel valued and accepted. You need to therefore adjust the teaching techniques or activities being used to re-engage and solve the issues students may be facing. And finally, when a student behavior is angry, defiant, or unresponsive, they are using their brainstem or reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is a term used to refer to the oldest and most primitive part of the brain, which is located at the base of the brain. It controls fundamental life-sustaining functions such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. It also controls our automatic responses to danger and is responsible for our social instincts, including territorial and hierarchical behavior. Overactivation and constantly sitting in the lowest level negative mindset causes stress, which in turn leads to anxiety and other mental health disorders. When the brain is functioning in this section, you must stop. Learners can't think clearly and therefore can't learn as they are not processing what is being said. This is due to the amygdala being overactivated, as previously discussed before, preventing memory and thoughts going through to the prefrontal cortex. To respond to this, teachers must give students time and space to calm down. They need to feel safe, so be calm and gentle. Allow them to take a walk or sit in a quiet space. Understanding how and why brainstems function and interact the way they do and how it affects other parts of the brain can help educators better comprehend and manage a variety of behaviours. Sapolsky acknowledges that the functionality of the three brain regions are all interrelated and influence each other. The neocortex works together with the other two layers of the brain, the limbic system and the brainstem, to regulate behavior and emotion. These three layers of the brain work together in a complex interplay that allows us to perceive the world around us, process information, and make decisions. The neocortex can become hijacked, however, in a fight or flight response when triggered by an unforeseen threat or emotional change. Therefore, this leads into teacher tips. The redo strategy. The redo strategy is when you have your students redo something the right way. It creates new neural pathways in the brain, and with enough practice, your behavior you want becomes a new habit. Make classroom learning fun. We learn best when we are having fun. Use songs, stories, objects, or games to teach a concept. Relate content to the students' interests and real-life situations. Keep yourself in green. If you are in green, your students will have the tendency to stay in green. If you go to red, then the rest of your class will be in red. This is due to the brain's social connectedness with one another. The students' attitudes and behavior can become reflective of ours. The Stoplight approach optimizes learning, decreases behavioral issues, and creates a safe classroom environment. Thank you for your attention today. I hope this teacher resource benefits you, your thinking and practice. The next slide is an overview of the reference list.